All right, folks, let me read you from the testimony of our next guest before Congress the other day. The problem with what the president is doing is that he's not simply posing a danger to the constitutional system. He's becoming the very danger the Constitution was designed to avoid. Those are the words of our next guest, Jonathan Turley, renowned legal scholar and professor of law at George Washington University Law School. Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Hello. It's great to be with you.
Well, it's great to talk to you. I appreciate you coming on. First of all, before we get to that, the passing of Nelson Mandela. What could be learned from his life and even his tenure as president of South Africa, in your view?
Well, I think that whenever you have the passing of someone who has such an iconic hold on the world, is it does force you to think as much about your life and about our current circumstances than his life and his legacy. I think that it behooves all of us to ask if we've done enough to achieve equality. On my blog this morning, instead of writing a piece on Mandela, I posted a piece of a prosecutor who's being disciplined for talking to a jury about the white world in which they live in an effort to secure a conviction against a black man. And I think that one way to honor Mandela is to look at current issues that we have today and to see if we've done everything we can do. And
anything that Barack Obama, in your view, could, here's a guy in Mandela who one of the most striking things about his life is that he only sought one term as president. He only served one term as president when he could have probably gone on for many, many terms and could have gone in a completely different way, could have become the dictator of South Africa, but did not feel that was the direction that his people should go in and his country should go in, so he left.
He did. And the interesting thing about Barack Obama is that I don't believe that he naturally wants to exercise authoritarian power. I think that the problem with Obama is that he's never been someone who's been motivated as much by principles as he has been by programs. I come from Illinois, and I think that he clearly and has demonstrated a deep desire to achieve social justice. But what he lacks, in my view, is a concern over the implications of the powers that he has acquired in achieving what he considers, and many consider, to be noble goals.
Yeah, and we could take the quote of "it's for the greater good," and we could tie that into very nefarious people with very nefarious motives and very horrendous results over the course of history. But it seems like even some of the supporters of Barack Obama, when it comes to, for instance, the health care lie, they excuse it because they say, well, it's the only way he could have gotten that bill passed, and everybody needs health care, so the ends justify the means. That scares me to the core, if in fact that's what he did purposely.
Well, I think that there was a bait and switch in the health care law. While I supported some reform of health care, particularly for those that simply had none and were ending up in emergency rooms, I testified earlier that I considered the law itself to be unconstitutional due to the federalism problems. But that is an example of a worthy goal that was achieved by less than worthy means. But I think that we're talking about something far more significant. And one of the things that I appreciated in the hearing this week is that you heard Republicans who, for the first time, admitted that this was a problem that began under George W. Bush, and that Bush violated the Constitution. And it has grown under Barack Obama. But what we have emerging is a system that is very, very different from the one that the framers created. And in my view, it is very, very dangerous. We have the emergence of what is often called an imperial presidency, something that we have resisted for generations.
Well, how do you stop, and we only have a minute and a half left, so it might not do it justice, Professor, but how do you stop Barack Obama from selectively enforcing laws and changing parts of laws unilaterally and getting away with it. Who could stop him?
Well, the proposal that I gave Congress was that one way to do it is to get access to the courts. This administration has been very successful in blocking challenges to actions that were viewed as unconstitutional. We have to get over what's called the standing barrier, where courts just refuse to hear challenges. I think that the framers would have been appalled that you can have very clear violations of the Constitution, but literally no one can actually get a hearing to review them. And I'm a big advocate of what's called member standing. I think at a minimum, courts should recognize that members of Congress have standing to challenge these types of rules in policies. If they did, I think many of these things would be struck down.
No, absolutely. And the fact that it's incumbent upon members of the public to get it done is a burden on them because they're not as equipped as a congressional person would be. Hey, I hope you'll come back, Jonathan. Thank you very much, sir.
My great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan Turley, folks, a professor of law at the George Washington University Law School. When we come back, Dr. Alveda King on the Steve Malzberg Show.